Here's your First Warn Weather Forecast First, sponsored by Anderson Collision Center. Visit driveanderson.com.
It was a chilly day across the state line today, and it's not going to get much better here into the evening and overnight hours. Numbers still sitting in the 20s for many of us, but not for much longer. We're already down in the low 20s when you look at Galena at 20 degrees, 21 in Monroe, 21 in Janesville, 22 the current temperature in Rockford. When you factor in that wind chill, though, it already feels like the single digits out there, and those numbers continue to drop as we head through the evening tonight underneath a clear sky. Those temperatures will drop into the single digits for the overnight low temperatures, right around 8 here in Rockford. Meanwhile, those wind chill numbers dipping back below 0. I'll let you know how long that chill could stick around and when we could see our next chance at precipitation coming up in your most trusted forecast a little later.
Right now at 5, new details on the deaths of 2 people in Roscoe. What we know so far as the sheriff's office continues its investigation. Plus, the Rockford Police Department holds a swearing-in ceremony. The new recruits taking their oath to protect and serve the community. And making sure your home is winter ready. We'll give you tips on how to stay warm and cost-effective.
Live from WTVO 17, this is Eyewitness News at 5.
Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy. Thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 5. Wendell is off tonight. The Winnebago County Sheriff's Department releases new information on the deaths of 2 people in Roscoe. A family member first discovered the bodies in a home on Harrison Court on New Year's morning. Police now say the incident was a domestic murder-suicide. Investigators believe the man killed the woman before taking his own life. The names of the deceased have not been released. A Las Vegas man pleads guilty after attempting to kill his ex-girlfriend at a Rockford home. 28-year-old Stillman Cunningham was arrested last January. Police say he repeatedly stabbed the victim with a kitchen knife. The woman tried to escape Cunningham by locking herself in a bedroom at a home on 22nd Avenue. She jumped out a window when he began to break down the door. Cunningham then attacked her in the yard before fleeing. Police tracked him down with a canine. The woman recovered after being treated at a hospital. Cunningham pleaded guilty to attempted murder. He's due back in court next month. Eyewitness News is committed to supporting survivors of domestic violence and connecting them with resources they can use right here in our community. We have a list of those. They're on our website, mystateline.com. Just click on the State Line Strong tab. Recruitment is a major point of concern for police departments across the country. Officer numbers have fallen off in many cities. The Rockford Police Department bolstered its ranks today, swearing in 6 new officers. Eyewitness News reporter Blake Dietz attended the ceremony. And Blake, what's driving these recruits?
A family and a sense of community duty, Mimi. A few of the new recruits were joined by their wives and kids, while another says a family member served as his inspiration. Those 6 new officers, Jared Reyes, Brenton Payne, George Curry, Niall Bensalem, Montrez Jett, and Jesus Polito took their oaths from Chief Carla Red. They tell me it wasn't an easy process. Some of them, like Reyes, had to apply to multiple departments before finding fits with RPD. Reyes says what kept him going was an example his uncle set for him as a child.
My uncle was a police officer, and just seeing him come home when I was staying the night over there, I just always thought it was the coolest job. Career-wise, goals is just to make it into as many different units as I can and just see every side of the department, whether it's community service, working with the school, K9, scope team, whatever they have to offer.
In addition to those 6 new officers sworn in, 2 current officers received promotions at today's ceremony. Investigator Ryan Fleming was elevated to sergeant, and Sergeant Dwayne Beats was promoted to lieutenant. Mimi.
And congratulations to all of them. Thanks, Blake. Memorial plans are announced for former state representative Ron Waite. Waite recently died at the age of 80 after a long career of community involvement. He was a volunteer, sports enthusiast, and a mental health advocate. His visitation will be held on Friday, March 21st from 3 to 7. His memorial service will be the following morning at 11. Those will both be at the Community Building Complex of Boone County. An Illinois State Police trooper was laid to rest today. Family, friends, and officers from law enforcement across the country paid their respects to Trooper Clay Carnes. He was killed in the line of duty December 23rd. He was clearing a piece of debris from the road on I-55 when he was hit and killed by a driver.
The fact that you see so many people so sad and so upset and hurting at him no longer being with us is just an indication of what kind of human being he was.
Carnes leaves behind his wife and 2 children. His family left a note of thanks on the back of today's program. It read, "Our family would like to thank you for all of your love, prayers, and support. Your kindness will remain in our hearts forever." Winter weather is here, and there are some tips and the best ways to stay prepared. A Rockford expert recommends that you check your furnace filter every few months, making sure that it's clean and clear from dust and dirt. Also, make sure the area around the furnace is clear and that there's nothing that could fall against the furnace and turn it on. If you want more heat, like in a small space, you can turn to a space heater, something that Rockford Fire suggests you keep a close eye on.
Any kind of combustible materials really should not be in any kind of contact with them. Again, 3 feet from all sides is very important. The other problem that we see typically with space heaters is we're overloading outlets. We're plugging them into things that they shouldn't be plugged into. We're plugging them into extension cords, multi-plug adapters, things like that. It should be plugged either directly into the wall or into a surge protector.
Rockford Fire also encourages you to change the batteries in your thermostat as well as in your smoke and carbon monoxide detectors in case anything were to happen. For those who don't have a warm home to stay at during these freezing nights, the Overnight Cafe invites you to stay. Second First Church is opening its doors as a warming center at 7 tonight. The church is looking for volunteers to check in guests. Donations of hoodies, sweatpants, gloves, and hand warmer packets are also welcome. Second First Church is located on North Church Street near the Coronado Theater. The Overnight Cafe will be open every night until early March. The 119th Congress was sworn in this morning. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson will retain his position despite some opposition. 3 House Republicans voted against him before 2 flipped their vote, allowing for his re-election. House Democrats re-elected Hakeem Jeffries as their leader. In the Senate, South Dakota Republican John Thune was sworn in as Majority Leader. Locally, Representative Eric Sorensen was sworn in for his 2nd term after winning re-election. He says his plans moving forward continue working where he started as part of the 118th Congress.
We have more lead pipes in Illinois 17 than almost anywhere in the country. It is continuing to make sure that the federal government prioritizes replacing these lead pipes so that Jackson, Mississippi and Flint, Michigan, they never happen in Bloomington Normal or Kewanee or Galesburg or Freeport, Illinois. And that is my job to make sure that we do that.
Sorensen represents Rockford, the Quad Cities, Bloomington Normal, and Peoria. He first took office in January of 2023. After the break, we're learning more about the victims who lost their lives in New Orleans on New Year's Day. The investigation leading the FBI to the Houston home of the suspect. And coming up at 6, the Surgeon General is calling for a new warning on adult beverages. The latest study highlighting the dangers of alcohol.
Our temperatures made their way into the mid-20s today, but will drop into the single digits for some overnight. I'll let you know how cold that wind chill could make it feel like, and if we have a little bit of a warm-up on the way beyond the weekend coming up in just a little bit.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team, with Mimi Murphy, Wendell Edwards, Scott Leber, and meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
We're continuing to learn more about the deadly terror attack in New Orleans. Law enforcement finding bomb-making materials in the suspect's home in Houston, while yesterday's Sugar Bowl honored the victims. Morgan Norwood has the latest.
As the FBI combs through hundreds of hours of surveillance video and hundreds of tips, federal authorities now warning law enforcement agencies across the country to be on alert for copycat attacks. It comes as dramatic video shows people scrambling to safety as a white F-150 truck raced down Bourbon Street New Year's Day, one person just barely getting out of the way. Robert Neville works in the area. He described the scene as terrifying.
We watched the people actually flip in the air like crazy. Like, as we seen the incident happen, we all try to rush out to aid the people.
The FBI revealing a new detailed timeline saying Shamsuddin Jabbar drove that rented truck from Houston to New Orleans on December 31st, posting multiple videos to Facebook claiming he joined and pledged allegiance to ISIS. Despite earlier fears the 42-year-old may have had accomplices, the FBI now saying he was likely a lone wolf. At 2:03 a.m., he's seen near Bourbon Street, the FBI saying he planted explosives in 2 coolers with a remote detonator. By 3:15 a.m., surveillance video showing him taking a right turn, then barreling down Bourbon Street.
The people that got hit by this car.
And now we're learning more about the victims who lost their lives. Kareem Badawi, a freshman and fraternity member at the University of Alabama.
Fun-loving guy. He was a positive guy and well-liked.
And 26-year-old Drew Dauphin, celebrating the new year with his younger brother Matthew.
Everybody that knows Drew and knows Matthew, they were one. They were best friends.
Now, according to a 2019 security assessment, the city of New Orleans was warned that broken blockades made Bourbon Street vulnerable to a vehicle ramming incident. Now, the city immediately beefed up security presence and worked to install new barriers, but that work wasn't done. And questions now as to whether it would have stopped what happened here on New Year's Day. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New Orleans.
Here in the State Line, it's been a cold but sunny day, and it could get even colder over the weekend. When we come back, meteorologist Jordan Wolf lets us know what we can expect. His full forecast coming up next.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
It was a cold day in the State Line despite a mostly sunny sky. Temperatures struggled to even make it to the mid-20s in some spots, officially hitting a high temperature of 25 degrees in Rockford. We are left underneath a strong northwest flow, and you can see that with the wind direction coming from the northwest, helping to draw in some of that cooler air mass from that way to our location. That's why numbers are still sitting in the 20s for many of us, but will continue to drop as we head through the evening tonight. Temperatures in the low 20s with the exception of Sublette, down into the teens already. 18 there, 21 in Rochelle, 20 in DeKalb, as well as Woodstock and Poplar Grove, 22 in Rockford and in Freeport, 21 when you look at Dixon. Our Mercy Health SkyTrack camera in Beloit, Wisconsin, showing off a clear sky along with a very nice sunset reflected with some of the city lights as well. And we had that clear sky, but a little bit of a breeze helping to allow those wind chills still feel a bit cooler than even where those temperatures sit. Even though our temperatures are in the 20s, that wind chill making it feel closer to the single digits, and those numbers will drop below 0 for the overnight hours tonight. We are left underneath a clear sky. We had a bit of cloud cover, especially along the eastern half of the viewing area earlier this afternoon, but the influence of high pressure has helped to clear us out, allowing for then those numbers to drop underneath that clear sky. Overnight low down in the single digits for many of us, 8 for that overnight low in Rockford. A mostly clear sky, wind chills dropping back below that 0 degree mark with our wind coming out of the northwest around 10 to 15 miles per hour. That wind continues as we head into tomorrow, though those gusts will ease up a little bit, only 20 mile per hour gusts. It will still feel cold, a high temperature of 21, partly cloudy skies, still breezy and relatively cold. Those wind chill numbers down below 0 for a period of time overnight, peaking possibly close to 10 below 0 when you look up to the northwestern portions of the viewing area. And we only see those wind chill numbers rise to around 10, maybe 12 degrees at the highest, depending on where our winds end up for tomorrow afternoon. But it will still feel colder than what the air temperature actually is throughout the majority of tomorrow and even going into the second half of the weekend as well. We are left underneath a little bit of sunshine for tomorrow. So another kind of misleading day. When you look outside, you see that sunshine. You think it's pretty warm outside until you walk out and you see those below 0 wind chills, especially tomorrow morning. We get that cloud cover, though, that filters back in for the afternoon and evening ahead of this next weather system. This is actually going to produce some significant snowfall amounts across central, possibly southern Illinois, going into Indiana and eventually Ohio, Kentucky. A major winter storm likely across some of those regions. But locally, we are going to see the influence of that remain very limited, if nothing at all, as we have a lot of dry air on the northern end of this system, helping to limit the northern extent of where that snowfall ends up. So our local impacts going to remain almost non-existent from that winter storm, but winter storm watches and warnings in place across a very broad region in central Indiana and central Illinois, as well as down to the south of those locations. Temperatures will remain cold for the weekend, 21, then 22 for Sunday. We may see a few snow showers from that storm as we head Sunday night into Monday, but impacts remain very limited. A brief warm up into the mid and upper 20s for Monday and Tuesday, and then another drop in those numbers for the second half of the week.
All right, thanks, Jordan. Drew Collins is in next with sports. The Chicago Bears are still looking for their next head coach. The latest on the search up next.
Now sports with Drew Collins.
Yesterday it was announced that the Bears will be interviewing Cliff Kingsbury for the head coach opening. Today, Albert Breer, a senior NFL reporter, said he expects the Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores to interview as well. Coach Brown spoke on what he believes is the best interest moving forward for the organization.
I think the alignment with the entire building is important. Obviously, head coach, GM spend a lot of time together. Have to collaborate as far as building a roster, the vision for the team, handling everything from a football business standpoint. But I think people minimize the impact of the entire building.
With the Lions and Vikings fighting for the top spot in the NFC, the Packers set their focus on the Bears. A win or loss for the Packers only affects their seeding. There will be a 6 or 7 seed. Coach LaFleur announced that the healthy starters will start and play. There are currently 13 players on the injury report.
I think we got to go in with the mindset that everybody can expect to play the entire game, and we're going to win, play a football game to win the game, and that's how we always approach it and always will approach it.
It has been a really rough stretch for the Blackhawks. They have lost 5 games in a row, including only 3 wins in their last 10 games. Tonight they will host the Montreal. A win at home could help turn things around. A classic Big Ten matchup kicks off at 6 p.m. The Badgers will host the Hawkeyes. Wisconsin is on a 3-game win streak, but they haven't won in the Big Ten yet this season, but they are 7-1 at home, so the Hawkeyes will look to play spoiler. Tomorrow, live on WTVO, we are spoiled with some AFC North football all day long. In the first game, we will have the Ravens hosting the Browns. A win here, and the Ravens will clinch the division. Following that game, the classic Bengals and Steelers throwdown will be in Pittsburgh. If the Ravens lose, the Steelers can win the division, but the Bengals are also fighting to stay alive. They have to win alongside a few other teams losing tomorrow to squeak into the playoffs. Once again, all these games will be live on WTVO tomorrow afternoon. That's sports. We'll be right back.
A clear sky on the First Warn Interactive Radar from Rockford Glass&More will allow our temperatures to drop down through the teens and into the single digits for those overnight lows. When you factor in the wind chill, though, it's going to feel closer to 0 or below 0 throughout the majority of the night. We see those temperatures climb into the 20s for tomorrow. Wind chill, however, approaching close to that 10-degree mark. We do see our next weather system progressing through well downstate Sunday into Monday. Cold the rest of the 7-day forecast.
All right, thanks, Jordan. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at 6.